Hi everyone, I am Paul Jacob, and today we will discuss what are the characteristics of English as an unphonetic language. Our mother tongue, that is Malayalam, is a phonetic language because in Malayalam language there are 48 sounds as well as 48 letters. That means in Malayalam language there are sufficient symbols to represent the speech sounds in Malayalam language. But in English language there are 44 speech sounds or 44 phonemes, including 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds. But in English language there are only 26 alphabets or 26 letters to represent those 44 speech sounds. That's why English is considered as an unphonetic language. English has various characteristics as an unphonetic language. The first characteristic is that in English language, same letter can represent different sounds. For example, if we take the letter S, S can represent different sounds in different words. For example, in the word sit, S-I-T, the letter used is S and the sound is S sound. But when we take another example, music, M-U-S-I-C, the letter used is S, but the sound is voiced sound, that is Z, music, music. That means in sit and music, same letter S represents two different sounds. That means the voiceless sound S in sit and the voiced sound Z in music. Take two more examples. In the word vision, V-I-S-I-O-N, the letter S represents a sound sh, vision. That means the letter S pronounced as sh sound. It is a voiceless sound. And when we go to another word, M-E-A-S-U-R-E, measure, measure. That means in that word, the letter S represents the sound Y. That means in vision, sh is a voiceless sound, whereas in measure, Y is a voiced sound. That means in the first characteristic, that means in English language, same letter can represent different sounds. The same letter S represents four different sounds in four different words. That means S in sit, Z in music, sh in vision, and Y in measure. And the second characteristic is, in English language, same sound can be represented using different letters. For example, take the sound K. In the word kit, the letter K is used to represent the sound K. But take another word cat. In the word cat, the letter C is used to represent the sound K. Take one more example, school, S-C-H-O-O-L. In the word school, C and H are used to represent the sound K. If you take the word packet, P-A-C-K-E-T, in that word, the letters C and K are used to represent the sound K. That means in English language, the sound K can be represented using different letters like K, then C, CH, then CK, double K, and so on. But in our vernacular languages, that means in our regional languages, we cannot identify such characteristics. And another characteristic is silent letters. In English language, we can identify various letters are not pronounced. That means there are many silent letters in English language. For example, in the word knife, K is not pronounced. In the word honor, both H and the final sound R are not pronounced. Then in psychology, the letter P is not pronounced. And in the word knowledge, the letter K is not pronounced. In tsunami or in psoriasis, the initial letters T is not pronounced. That means there are some rules regarding the use of the sound R. That means R is silent in many contexts. That means if the letter or if the sound R comes at the end of a word, usually we won't pronounce it. In the word doctor, we have to pronounce it as doctor. Don't pronounce it as doctor. That is wrong. That means we should not pronounce the letter or sound R if it comes at the end of a word. For example, player, teacher, then driver, then player. That means in such context or in those words, the sound R comes at the end of the word, and in such context we should not pronounce the sound R. Then the next context is that if the sound R is followed by a consonant sound, then also we should not pronounce the sound R. That means in the word board, board, that means the letter R or the sound R is followed by the consonant D. That means in such context we should not pronounce the sound R. That means if the sound R is followed by a consonant sound, then we should not pronounce the sound R. And another context is that if the sound R is followed by a vowel sound, then we have to pronounce it. Then we have to pronounce the sound R. In the word broad, broad, in the word broad, we pronounce the letter or we pronounce the sound R because R is followed by a vowel sound. That means we have already discussed three major characteristics of English as an unphonetic language. First one is same letter can represent different sounds, and the second characteristic is that same sound can be represented using different letters. And in English language there are many silent letters. There are many other characteristics also, but those characteristics are not very relevant, or those characteristics are not commonly happening in English language. For example, elision, then intrusive, then linking are there are some other characteristics, but we are not discussing all those characteristics in detail, so we shall just go through the main points. First one is that we have to consider English as an unphonetic language. Then in English language there are 44 sounds, speech sounds, but there are only 26 letters or 26 alphabets to represent those 44 sounds. That's why English is considered as an unphonetic language. Okay, thank you, and we shall discuss another topic in the coming session. Thank you all.